Welcome, everybody, to today's show. I'm Devin Dewar. We're doing a dual team reading here with my good friend Chris Reck from Minnow Pontero. Hey, Chris.
Hey, how are you?
Good. This is so fun when we get to do this. We've been coming together once a month for several months now, having a topic here. We do all 12 signs, and we thought it'd be really good to follow up the previous two readings, which were about your relationships in 2025. The one last month was about your purpose, your life purpose, and this one's about your personal power, because with all this retrograde energy we're seeing and some brand new planetary alignments coming up for us this year that none of us have experienced in this lifetime, we want you to know what your personal power is for you. So we'll be going through all 12 signs. We'd love to hear in the comments, what's your sign? Where are you tuning in from? But first, I wanted to ask you, Chris, how's the energy been for you since we last hopped on together?
Yeah, crazy. I've been waking up. We were just talking about it in the middle of the night and not being able to fall back asleep. I felt, one good day was the day Mars went direct. So I felt like I immediately felt that morning, like more energetic just in general. I even woke up early. I'm like an early riser anyway. But I've been having a hard time waking up early lately. So I've been like sleeping in, and that day I woke up early. So that was good.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I didn't feel it right away. I expected to feel Mars direct right away, so I was like watching the clock, and I didn't. So that's probably why I did it. And then even Monday morning, waking up kind of groggy, I still was like, man, I thought I was going to feel so much better with Mars direct. And then finally it hit me like right around 8 a.m. I got going, and I've had a pretty productive week. But Mars is still going pretty slow. I think it's still going to be at that same 17 degrees for at least another week. So if you are all hoping for that big rush of energy, just be patient. We too, my husband and I both have been waking up a lot in the middle of the night and just feeling groggy. And we have this stellium in Pisces right now. The sun's in Pisces. The moon will be in Pisces. I don't know if it's entered yet today, but probably by later today, because tomorrow's the new moon in Pisces. And then of course we have Saturn in Pisces, which we've had for a while, Neptune in Pisces, and the North Node in Pisces. So that's and Mercury's still in Pisces. Mercury will be in Pisces. And then we have coming up on Saturday, March 1st, we have Venus going retrograde in Aries, and Mercury will go retrograde in March as well. So we're probably going to be waiting till May before we're feeling a lot of this energy together, don't you think?
Yeah, that's what I say in all my readings. That I think I said in the beginning of the year that the year doesn't start till May. So, I'm kind of like wait until May for things to get moving.
Exactly. If you guys missed it or just want to rewatch, Chris and I did an episode all about this retrogrades we're in last fall. I think it was in October. So you can go check out. I have a playlist of all our shows together. And it can be really fun to use hindsight with those and see how it's been playing out for you so far this year. But I definitely feel that energy. I know another thing you say in a lot of your videos, Chris, is about just a lot how the water signs are really being affected right now with all this water energy, right?
Yeah. I think the water signs are feeling more, and it's good for intuition, stuff like that, but definitely creating change for the water signs.
The intuition has been off the chart for a lot of people lately, and I really want to encourage you to continue working on your intuition, because with this Venus retrograde, things are not going to appear as they really are, which happens with a lot of retrogrades. Have you had any, do you have any stories about Venus retrograde, Chris,
God,
that you could think of? You do?
Venus retrograde? Not really. Like, it's always like, I always get hit by Mercury retrograde. And normally retrogrades aren't too bad for me, but it's always something weird during that. But I can't think of anything during Venus retrograde that, I can't remember anything weird happening during a Venus retrograde for me.
Well, Venus tends to be a more gentle one of the retrogrades, but you often hear of people thinking they're meeting their soulmate during a retrograde and running off to Vegas and getting married, and then it goes direct and they're like, who is this person?
Yeah.
So don't do that.
And, isn't Venus is a retrograde planet. Venus, it has a retrograde has a retrograde spin or whatever normally. So I always think, the super weird thing is that it's technically it's spinning the right direction when it's retrograde, right?
Right.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Weird. Yeah. And I don't have any weird stories about Venus. like as much as I do like a Mercury or a Mars retrograde, like you said. I always apply the RE thing to any retrograde, just redo, reorganize, review. But then I apply the planet's energy. And since Venus is a lot about, beauty and money and luxury, you might want to decorate, or you might want to like rethink an old project and beautify it again, like go back to it and things like that, which you would also be doing with the Mercury energy anyways, probably just going back and dotting I's and crossing T's that got missed and stuff. Yeah,
that's come up a lot. The whole, now that I think about it, the whole like revisiting something and redoing it, or kind of not really back to the drawing board, but making something look better. I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, and especially because that Venus energy can help with it. But there's also this this thing that happens that I've noticed with Venus retrograde is people will not necessarily intentionally conceal things. So they're not as face value as they appear. And so it can be easy to get caught up in an ideal with somebody, a collaboration or some kind of partnership. And it's not necessarily intentional, but no one's really clear on each other's motives. And then that's what gets revealed when Venus goes direct. And it's like, oh man, now I'm in this contract with this thing, or, now I got to go tell this person I don't really want to do this anymore. So just take your time, because like Chris said, this year doesn't really get moving until May. So we still you have time to stay in that drawing board stage. So I think it's always for us no matter what. But it's just frustrating when we have these goals that we set for ourselves and then we have to go back, look at it again, right? So, we are so excited to share with you what your personal power is. And this is going to be one of those evergreen readings that you can come back to anytime you want. But in general, we're talking about 2025, your personal power this year, really, especially once things get going in May. But you can start using this power right now at the time you hear these messages. We're going to go through all 12 signs. And then, of course, we'll do the bonus collective reading at the end. Right, Chris?
That's right.
All righty. Were you ready to get started with the first sign here? All right. Let's pull up Aries here so everybody knows where we are. And what are you getting for Aries' personal power?
I mean, Aries, you can't really make this up. I mean, I look at Aries as the initiator. Sometimes I say that to Aries, and you have the Ace of Wands. So, your personal power is initiation, right? And Six of Pentacles is planting seeds. But I think I said to Aries this year as well that I think the number one thing that really Aries needs to evolve through is, seeing things through to the end. Don't just like start and then be the initiator and only the initiator. It's like Six of Pentacles, planting seeds. We have to nurture something until the end, and that's where we get the real result. And I that's where I think Aries' personal power will come from. Aries has a lot of energy that's about to like move into their sign. Even Neptune, at the end of the year, technically, I know it enters in this year, but it will retrograde and then it will move in whenever that is at the end of the year. And so, December 6th or something, right? Is it somewhere around there?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's what Aries needs to do is, kind of like, and with that Neptune energy, according to Chris's crappy astrology here, it's like that dream that you've always wanted to manifest is what you should do. I love that.
For Aries. For Aries, I got the Chariot card here, and I'm going to have to move that icon so people can see it. But I am getting that your power, you're like you said, like finally take that leap of faith, get out there and dream big. You're going to have all that energy behind you. That's going to be your power and Aries, when you do decide you want something, you are usually really good at just taking the lead and getting out there and getting in front of things and doing things. But just like you said with the Six of Pentacles, I pulled the King of Earth here. So I feel like it's a lot of your personal power comes from mastering your resources, mastering your ability to finish something you've started before you leap on to the next thing, right? So these big dreams that you've already been thinking about and doing, go ahead and take that action. But I definitely feel like you're being asked to be a master about it. So if you need to add some of your skills, add to your resources between now and May or whenever we do have that energy fully in Aries, this right now is a good time to start adding skills and really reassessing your finances, making sure you're making good business decisions and just being very grounded with your resources. Does anything else come up for you with the Chariot card and the King of Pentacles?
Yeah, King of Pentacles is always a skill card for me. He has those grapes on his cloak, and the grapes in the tarot represent something that's like hard to grow, but he can do it well. And I'm about to say this to Taurus because I already pulled Taurus's cards here, but I feel the same way for that part of the sky, like Aries and Taurus, that really believing deeply in the skills that you've developed, and kind of like giving yourself credit for how far you've come is going to be important for Aries.
Oh, I really like that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's stopping to really recognize that. I think that's a great point, and I can see where Taurus would need that too. So let's move on to Tauruses then. What are you getting? Wait, hang on. Sorry, my icon's not.
It's okay.
Here. Okay. What are you getting for Taurus?
Taurus, you have the Six of Pentacles and the Hierophant. So, like I just said, I think that Tauruses need to shine that inner light bright. I also think Tauruses shouldn't hide. I always say it's like very tempting to stay in isolation with the Hierophant because you don't have to deal with the cold, harsh reality of the world. So he does have something to prove, in a way. Like he could prove that he has the skill or whatever inside his lantern here. But he has to go and prove it. He has to like step into the real world and show what he's made of. And so I feel it's time for Taurus to do that. I think Taurus knows like what they've been doing up until this point isn't cutting it. It's not getting them, it's like the things Taurus is doing right now might not be like the best bang for their buck, but energetically, the energy you invest in things is kind of what I feel, Taurus. But I think that's about to change. That's what I get here.
Okay. I pulled the Strength card for Taurus's personal power. So obviously, going into that bull energy, that strength, that endurance, that's a big thing for your personal power here. But I also pulled the Five of Air. And this card, when I see it, I always think of what it says on here, to review everyone's motives. And that's going to be where you get a lot of power. When you're looking for those win-win-win scenarios, or you're really questioning whether someone is being upfront for why they're doing something, you'll get power out of that. Asking somebody, getting curious, why do you want to do this collaboration with me? Why do you want me to invest in that? And getting clear on all those things is going to be helpful. But also, like I said, I think Taurus is, like you said, kind of getting out of the closet, getting out there more, not hiding. I think you are going to need to do a lot more you're going to get a lot of personal power through collaborating and letting other people see your skills, letting other people see how far you've come. And, again, just creating those win-win scenarios. People are going to look to you for, oh, wow, this person, they really want us all to work together, and, tap into that strength and that endurance you have to get that done. So does anything else come up for you for these two cards, Chris?
Yeah, it's like value judgment. I think Taurus needs to get good at value judgment, like looking at something like you just said about, working together with other people or whatever, like looking at it and saying, is there actually value in it? That's what the question that he is asking. Is there actually value in what I have grown, or is there something better I could do with my time? And, that's probably what they need to ask.
Yeah, and usually that's a natural thing for Taurus to do is what's the value?
Yeah.
At least I'm surrounded by Tauruses. They tend to go for quality over quantity. Yeah, and I appreciate that. It's a good reminder. Don't do the quick fix. Do the investment fix that's going to last. It's going to have that endurance that Tauruses have. Yeah, so I love that.
Definitely.
All right, moving on to the Geminis. I'm just publish this here. All right. What are you getting for Gemini's personal power?
Gemini, you have the King of Wands and the Empress. Really good. I would take it, I'm only a Gemini moon, and I'm trying to double down on this too, that Jupiter and Gemini energy, taking advantage of expansion. I always say, I have always noticed, I could be wrong, but I have always noticed that I don't get the rewards from Jupiter until after. So it just, it seems to be like one of those planets where I had it in my first house a couple of years ago or whatever that was. And it's I didn't see any of the result until after, after it had left. So it's like you have to do the work now, and it's worth it, but you're doing work for nothing right now. Maybe I feel some of you feel like that, where it's like you're doing things, not getting as much of a result as you want. But I feel you need to realize like everything you do now is going to add up to something much bigger in the near future. So, I would keep putting the work in. Also could be very attractive at this time, Gemini. So if you're looking for love, I would get out there with those two cards.
That's great. I got the 4 of water for Gemini. It's personal power. And this is where, one of the things that I've been hearing a lot for Geminis in all my readings, I just did my new moon one on Monday. And I keep hearing for them to remember to flip the script, because they can see both sides. They can flip the script, but then they go to they often go to the, oh no, what if they're doing this to me? What if this happens, right? And they get focused on the wrong part of the equation there. So what I'm seeing here with the 4 of Cups is just, if you're feeling bored or unhappy with something, your power is to go then flip the script, find a way to make it more fun. Go celebrate, because I also got the 3 of water card here too. And you might actually miss out on an opportunity to do something really fun because you're caught in the what if scenario, or you're caught in the discontentment. Well, this person never does this for me. I have always wanted this person just to say that, and then I would be happy. And instead of being grateful for the things that you do have in your life, and go do something for you, go nurture your own energies. And like you said too, just celebrating what you're doing. And I think also, like with Aries and Taurus, it's a similar idea of stop the back and forth and focus on how far you've come. Celebrate that, so that you don't miss the new opportunities that are coming through the door. Because I feel lots of new opportunities are also going to be where the personal power comes for Gemini. Does anything come up for you with those 2 cards?
Yeah, it's like the Empress, she can focus on she has this waterfall behind her, which is like total chaos, and it represents chaotic force, chaotic energy. But she understands that like things don't have to be perfect in her environment to be successful. That's the whole point of the waterfall behind her. So, exactly like Devin said. So, you said that flip the script thing. I was like, damn, that's good. That is exactly what it is for Gemini.
Okay, good. Because I don't want to be too hard on Geminis, because I know they're so creative. They've got so much, usually charisma and everything, but just lean towards the positive. So I'm glad to hear that validation there for sure. All right. We're rocking through these here. What do you have for Cancer's personal power?
Yeah, I think I said this to Cancer recently. I could be wrong. It might have been someone else, but I think Cancer does need to stop wishing and start doing. It's like not bad, Cancer, at all. Like, I think things are going well for you, but 4 Swords, he's like hoping and praying that something would happen. The Magician is doing something about it. He is manifesting, but he's not just manifesting. He's willing to totally reinvent himself to get into the energy of what he wants. So he is the card of reinvention. And I always say, like, I talk to a million people every single day, and all the time, like anytime I do readings or whatever, people are always like, I want this thing. But if you look at their life, they're just doing the same thing they've done. So the Magician reminds us that like you have to be the thing that you want to be before you can be it. So I would start like adopting those habits, start taking action. I think that's what Cancer needs.
I really like that. I had a mentor tell me once that, if you want to be an actor, then before you've taken even with the, before you worry about how am I going to get that audition, or how do I get into that really prestigious acting club, you go to the local acting group and you get on stage and you start acting. Yeah, exactly. And so I really like that. And I do have for Cancer's personal power, we have the 7 of water. So again, just doing it. This like I love your explanation of this, which I'll get to the 7 of cups, but it's essentially like having you need to pick a cup and just do it and see what happens, because either way it's going to be a life experience. You're worried about that you're going to pick the wrong cup. Well, then you learn from it and you grow and you do it better the next time. So yeah, I agree. As a Cancer sun sign here, I know we don't like being confrontational. We don't like confrontation. We have to hide in our shell a lot. And also we need that time away to restore. But that's where it can be a little addictive to stay in solace in that isolation. I learned this a long time ago from talking to different counselors and things. Feeling lonely or feeling like you're all alone can actually become a form of addiction. It's like feeling sorry for yourself, feeling like a victim. And so you really do need to get out there and make a choice. And let's say that you're like, fine, I'll finally get out there and start dating again. But what if, I get my heart broken? Well, you'll learn some from it, and you'll learn what you didn't do differently, what you need to do differently. And I like what you said too earlier about just doing it differently. What were the reasons it didn't work in the past with past relationships? And we can all benefit from that. So did anything come up for you for these Seven of Cups and Tower card here?
Yeah, I mean, Seven of Cups is exactly, what I said with the, stop wishing, start doing, because, it's too much thinking like this could happen, that could happen. And I literally always say with the Seven of Cups that it becomes an addiction. You start thinking like, oh, this could happen, but this could happen. And you start, but also I think the problem with like living things in your head is that eventually you get to a point, because I was there for like 4 years of my life, just living things in my head, is that I would get to the point where I lived it in my head so much that I believe I did it and I never did anything. So, that's always my problem with the Seven of Cups.
Right. And but it's like, and you said spoiled for choice too, right? Because it's like, it's the idea that, I don't want to give up my other choices, but you're not actually, it's not a real choice yet because you haven't taken action on it.
You haven't done it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that. All right. Moving on to the Leos.
Leo, you show up here. So, that's good. You are in your own personal power, I guess, showing up as the sun. The Seven of Wands I look at as like needing to actually believe that. So Seven of Wands is a card of conviction. I always say it's a card of like knowing that believing something deep down into your DNA, not even deep down into your bones, right? And really believing that you are powerful and that you can set out and do the things you want. I feel this for Leo, like thinking that they're not ready for something. So, the story of him is he rushed out of his house to defend his position at the top of the hill here. And so he feels like he's not prepared, but I really feel Leo is as prepared as they're going to be for whatever they're doing.
Yeah, I like that. I got the Page of Fire card here. So it says, news of exciting new opportunities, everything. But the personal power is going to come from this Queen of Air here, where it's making objective decisions, slowing down, being realistic. Leos are naturally passionate, naturally doing things from the heart. So if you're getting really excited about a new idea, just make sure you're slowing down, maybe even bouncing the ideas off of somebody in your life that is kind of mastered the art of being objective, and trying to look at things as, any information you can get to have compassion in that situation if it doesn't really work out. That's basically what I'm getting for these cards here is if you're going to have to laugh off a few things, Leo, I know you're so loving and sensitive and your heart's so open that a lot of things go straight to the heart and they hurt. And a lot of Leos wear their hearts on their sleeve. If you can practice looking for the humor in a situation and blowing it off and kind of instead being more witty about it, I think that's really going to help you with your personal power, is not just taking it to the extreme with how passionate you are about it. So what's coming up for you for Page of Fire and Queen of Air?
Yeah. I just had something pop into my head totally randomly as well with this, and it has nothing to do with that. So I apologize for your message, but I had this thing pop into my head. Like I had a story. I'll just tell you. It's like I think Leos have these things in life where it's almost like something would be easy. Like imagine if you want money, Leo. It's like maybe deep down inside you have this wish, like, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if I drove down the road and I found like this bag of money on the side of the road that solved all my problems. But like, so what's very weird is like when I was thinking about that, when that popped into my head. Like an easy solution. It's like there's something in that easy solution that you think about, whether it's for like love, money, business, otherwise, whatever. It's like it's almost like there is something in the easy solution for Leo. I wish I had more to say about that, Leo, because I don't even know where that came from. But what I will say is like he can do something with ease. He's carrying this big banner, and so he's doing something. But it's easy for him. And I think you need to look at where you can move a lot of weight, like easily with a skill or something. I don't know.
That makes a lot of sense to me because it's that idea of like picking the low hanging fruit. If it's easy for you to do, there's a reason for that, right?
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, great. Well, that's lots of power there. Take it easy. Take the easy thing.
Yeah,
That's going to be your power
yep.
there, Leo. I love it. All right, moving on to the Virgos.
Virgo, you have the Three of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands. Yeah, I think Virgos need to be the leader in a lot of ways. I also think Virgos need to care less as well, like about what people will think. I think that Virgos probably have a skill. Queen of Wands, she needs to not care what anyone will say about what she is doing. I think that's like the biggest challenge if I think of her as a challenge. And I feel like I want to in Virgo's reading right now. So that's what we'll say. And she also has to learn as she goes. But it's like she's afraid of doing the wrong thing maybe. And so, that's kind of what I feel for you, Virgo. When something is going to be successful, the whole point of Three of Pentacles is he's done a really good job. And, I feel like that's where your personal power will come from.
Wow. Well, I got the same card. I got the Queen of Fire, which is Queen of Wands. So double validating what Chris just said there for Virgo's personal power, not caring what anybody thinks. I also got the Three of Air card here, right? And so this is also the Three of Swords, and it says take time to heal or forgive yourself and others. And so it could be that where in the past you've held off from doing something because of what people said about you, hurtful things that hurt your feelings, feeling vulnerable. So you've been holding off. And when you step into this power about not caring what anybody thinks about what you're passionate about, you're going to get so much power from that, and it's like, the celebrities that they go out and they buy whatever they want. They do whatever they want. They don't care what the economy's doing. They don't care whether people think it's extravagant. They do what they want. It's like they don't care. For Virgos, you got to let go of that idea of, well, what if my ideas get judged? What if I'm not heard? And really kind of be out there. Treat yourself like a celebrity. I feel like that's, a lot of that energy I'm getting off that card. Are you getting anything else for these two, especially the Three of Air there?
Yeah, it's kind of like because he's claiming something, he is the leader, this guy, on this bench here, it's like there. And I feel like there are people where it's like, maybe you have the steak, but they have the sizzle, but I feel for a lot of you Virgos, it's like, you have to like put that steak out there. you have to throw it on the grill.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel here with that card.
Okay. I love that. Moving on to the Libras. What's the Libras' personal power here?
Libra has someone all up in their business, first off. And I know this has nothing to do with your personal power, but this guy's been showing up in every single reading that I've done for Libra. So I don't know. There you go, Libra. You definitely have like a Knight of Cups type person around you. But Knight of Cups is the dream, right? So he is the dreamer. He's normally scrying. He's normally like looking into that cup, imagining his future. And really all he has to do is plant seeds in front of that water there and they will grow. But, I think this perfectly describes the time we're in. I always say, to me, Knight of Cups is always collective because like I think we are in a time where people have dreams, Neptune and Pisces, but they're just like, I don't know how I'm going to accomplish a dream. I'm lacking the resources, even though actually, if you look harder, you probably have a lot more resources than you realize to accomplish what you want with the Nine of Pentacles. So, and Nine of Pentacles, like years ago, I did environment readings for Libra. I called them that because they got this card with me every single reading I was doing. And I was like, it struck me one day. I was like, Libra needs to work on their environment. They need to work on everything that's surrounding them. And that's what I would do if I were Libra. That's where your personal power would come from.
Yeah. Studying your environment and how it's affecting you. Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I've got the Ace of Earth card here, and it's talking about, new promising business adventures, new opportunities, but also I got pulled the Moon card, right? So, that's usually things going on behind the scenes and needing to release any fears that are holding you back, but trusting that psychic insight. So just like Geminis can see both sides, so can Libra. And so if you don't know which side to go with, use your intuition there. And then like you said about the resources, you had the Nine of Pentacles. I have the Ace of Earth here, which is Ace of Pentacles. It's like, take one of those coins, invest it in yourself. And I do like the idea of maybe investing it in your environment. Do you feel like you have the opportunity to sit down and be creative in the space you're in? Or do you feel like there's always interruptions and you can't get in a flow? This could also be, like you said, somebody's up in their business. There could be people around you in your ear, or there could be people that are actually wanting to help you with this new investment there. So look around you. The resources are probably right there in front of you. So what else are you getting for these cards here, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, she's perfectly fine on her own. So, I mean, she is the card of independence too. So it's kind of funny that there's like a person here, and it's like, do you really need a person? Maybe that's also a question that
Oh,
Libra should ask, and it's not that you won't have a person. I always say it's like when we don't need a person, that's usually when we find the right person. So,
yes.
maybe this is like the space you need to get to, right?
Yeah, I love that. Put yourself in an environment where you can feel passionate about what you're doing, and that just attracts those people anyways. So I love that. All right, moving on to Scorpios. What do you have for personal power for Scorpios?
Scorpio, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, every single reading for the past 6 months, they've had the tower in their reading, which Scorpio, I don't really worry about because it is you. I mean, Scorpio is
They
the
can
tower
handle
card.
it.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can
okay.
handle it. But you have the Page of Pentacles as well, which is something new. This like makes me think of like, do you have a stinking rotting corpse in your life? That's what I want to ask you with this Tower card. Like, is there something that is like in the back of your closet? Like, if there was ever a sign that would keep a dead animal in their closet, it's probably Scorpio, right? So it's like there's probably something in the back of your closet that you need to put in the trash bag and throw out, right? And so the Page of Pentacles wants you to do something new. The problem with Page of Pentacles is like the knowledge gap. I always think that the problem with the Page of Pentacles is you can come up with a new idea, but you're like, oh my God, I have to go back to school, or I have to, I'm going to have to work on this for 6 months before it works. But I also feel like it's totally worth it, Scorpio. So I would get moving.
Right. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. I pulled the Ace of Fire card, which actually says change your life now, which goes right along with that Tower card because it's like the time is now. It's you can't go backwards. The tower has come down. What's left there that you don't even want anymore? Because I also got the Four of Air card, and it talks about needing to take a vacation or rest and maybe even meditate to get some answers on where you need to go next. But there is this opportunity to really start getting out there again, and that was something I got a lot in the readings for Scorpio, is needing to get out into the sun more, putting themselves in the spotlight. They like their cozy rainy days on the couch, curled up with somebody they love or an animal or whatever, and they want to be like tucked up and cozy. But it's time for you to get out there with something new, because the world's waiting on you to bring that out there. And because you can handle these tower moments so well, then people are going to be looking to you for guidance with that. I really feel that. So are you getting anything for these two cards here? Have it up.
Not really. It's like, I think we said everything for Scorpio. I'm not getting anything extra here.
Okay.
I really am focused on this Page of Pentacles. I mean,
Wow.
he is the card of kind of like studiousness, and so I do think that would be the best thing for Scorpio.
Okay.
Learning.
Adding those skills. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. What are Sag's personal power?
Sag. I just used a new deck, by the way. So Sag also has the Page of Pentacles and also has the Magician. So I feel like Sag is ready for a new beginning with that Page of Pentacles energy. And both cards. I always look at the Magician as needing to have a new beginning. We have the Fool, card number 0, which is like a new beginning. But sometimes I feel like the Magician is truly the new beginning card. Like it's like, okay, come on, it's time to get started type of new
Right.
beginning. He has all the skills necessary to be very successful. I do feel like you have to look at your tools. Like, I feel like I always say that Sagittarius, I feel like, has like spread their particles out all over the universe for many years, and it's like now they're getting sucked back to center. Like they're like coming back home, and there's something about that for Sagittarius.
That's interesting, because I also pulled the Hermit card, which is a lot about self-discovery. So maybe it's that coming back home to within themselves and really getting clear about what their heart wants, meeting themselves again, or meeting themselves for the first time, maybe,
Yeah, right.
That self-discovery there. And then I also have 8 of Earth, which I feel like complements that Page of Pentacles card you had, because it says skilled work is rewarded, learning all there is to know about a topic. So really investing in something that your heart wants. And one of the things I've seen come up a lot for Sagittarius is you're meant to bloom in a new direction this year. You're meant to move away from things that you've been doing, which, like you said, it's like bringing all the particles back to home, getting clear on what it is you really want to go, and then actually going in that direction. So I love what you said about the Magician card. It's like, even like the Fool cards I've seen, the guy on there's not moving. He's taking the leap of faith, but he's not actually doing anything yet. But the Magician is like, now we're actually putting it into action. And I feel like a lot of the power Sages will get is by finally taking that action in that new direction and using a lot of their skills to do it that they haven't used in the past. So has anything else come up for you with those two cards?
Yeah, and like I said earlier, he with the magician is he's a card of reinvention. So if like all your particles are coming back, you've spread out over the universe for many years. It's like now is the time to like claim who you are. He has to reinvent himself, so he has to be different.
Right.
And that's what I feel for Sag.
Yeah, I know a lot of Sages that have like these hidden talents, or go ahead. Yeah, you do too.
I know this girl and she's been struggling, like typical Sag story, I feel, where she's like had problems with like jobs and everything like that. And she's finally started her YouTube channel and like her first 2 videos did amazing. And, so it's like, it's funny that like she finally like is like accepting what she is good at and the universe is proving it to her. She's like gotten a really good result. So, it's really funny to me.
Yeah, taking advantage of that magician card. She's putting it in action. I love that. Well, congrats to her. That's awesome. All right, we have Capricorn's personal power.
Capricorn. Sorry, I didn't pull your cards. You have the Justice card and the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, really good time for Cap, I feel. So literally could be getting justice from the universe. I would like encourage Capricorn to take like a little bit more control of the Wheel of Fortune, good things and bad things. I always look at the Wheel of Fortune. We have to like take care of bad things very quickly. I always use the example of like hiding from a bill. Most people hide from their bills, but they just get worse over time. And so that's why we have to take care of those problems very quickly. With the Wheel of Fortune, but also the good things, we have to like double down on the good stuff as much as possible with the Wheel of Fortune. Justice is cause and effect. I do feel like a much more, straightforward energy for Capricorn, where if they do something, they're going to get a result. So, I would pay attention to results with that Justice card.
I like that. And, that was actually a theme for everybody that I got for 2025 was facing things head on, not letting the bills pile up, not letting that conversation go too long without having that conversation that you need to have with somebody, And so I see how that resonates, especially for Capricorns, because also I got the 8 of Fire card, which is just a lot of things going on at once. And, that if there's a lot of things that you're juggling in the air, you don't want something to slip through the cracks that's going to, affect your home and family, your environment, and the things you're doing. Because I also got the 10 of Water. So, Capricorns, they work really hard until they get what they want. But it's time for you to start enjoying life's luxuries, enjoy having the emotional and spiritual support you deserve, and surround yourself with people who you trust. Capricorns tend to do things themselves because they're like, I can just do it the right way. If I just do it myself, I can do it the right way, But you can actually find trustworthy people in your life who can support you and allow you to not have so much going on. So if you're still working too hard, like if you're still working like Pluto's still in Capricorn, it's time to put down a wand or what do we say? Pick a wand, whatever, and then get help from trustworthy relationships so that you can really start to enjoy the other side of life, which is, romance and fun and emotional and loving support. So did anything else come up for you with these cards?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would say to Capricorn. It's time to enjoy life. Like I feel that's the only thing they should focus on, really, and doing things to enjoy life.
Right. Yeah. It's like you said, they're now going to be getting the benefits of what they went through with Pluto and Capricorn, like you said about Jupiter too. It's like it's just now getting started. The benefits of the transformation you've gone through. So be open to it and let other people help you out while you go through it. So I love that. All right, Aquarius. What do we have for personal power for Aquarians?
Aquarius, I think your personal power, for some of you, your personal power could come from moving on with the 6 of Swords, moving on from things that are like too slow. I feel like Aquarius, I said a while ago, has developed a better picker, like being able to pick the right situations and like not wasting your time, like being able to decide that something isn't right sooner with the Knight of Pentacles. He's like nervous to invest in his work, like in this field behind him. He's nervous to plant seeds. Only because he's afraid of like making an overinvestment. And I feel with the 6 of Swords, it's like moving on before you get to that point.
Wow.
That could be it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got the King of Fire card here for Aquarians, and it's talking about really needing to focus on communicating your vision. Get really clear with your passions and communicate those passions. Really get clear about how you are communicating. If you're not feeling like people are hearing you and what you're trying to say from the heart, then it's time for you to go ahead and change that you're going to get a power from changing the way you communicate to where it's more clear, and just making sure that you're really standing up for your convictions and your belief. I have the 7 of Fire card here. If those of you have been waiting in the background for that opportunity to really stand up for something, now is your time. Your personal power is going to really come from standing up for yourself here. And I keep hearing that. What's that phrase people will say, like, instead of saying I have to go, they'll say I gotta bounce. I don't know what show that's from.
That's what the kids say nowadays.
That's what the kids say. I'm so aging myself right now. But look at the sign Aquarius. They literally bounce. And when I think of my Aquarian friends, I do think of that. It's like they can come in with this really grounded approach to something and really get to the point. But then when things might get a little hard and people are questioning their beliefs, they bounce and they're out of there. And it's like, it could be really positive for you to really stand in your beliefs now and take that energy and communicate it, really focus on it. So what do you get with the King of Fire and 7 of Fire?
Yeah, I mean, this is a card of commitment. I mean, he is like not the only knight that isn't moving, I always say. And again, he has to plant seeds in this field and create growth. So it's like, is it the fear of commitment that is going on with the Knight of Pentacles? Like the fear of, committing to something for a long time, like that you would have to work on. So that could be totally true there.
Oh, wow. I can see that with it, especially with the King of Wands. Once you get to the throne, you're sitting in the throne, you're in charge of this. Now here comes the responsibility that comes with that. So I get that for sure. Yeah. Okay, great. So for Pisces, what do we have for personal power?
Pisces, you also have the Queen of Wands. Wasn't it Virgo that had the Queen of Wands?
Yes,
I think.
Two of them.
Yeah, you're opposite. Yeah, you're opposite sign. So that's crazy. And
that is.
You show up right here with the King of Cups. So you're showing up in your personal power. But yeah, that Queen of Wands, needing to believe in yourself more, needing to learn as you go. I think that's like Pisces' biggest problem. One of, I shouldn't say it's the biggest problem, but being willing to learn as you go, and also like trusting your guidance. Like I wonder if Pisces, like I don't know about any other Pisces, but I've hated Neptune and Pisces, and I never say hate. So there you go. But to me, I don't think Neptune rules Pisces in the first place. I mean, every chart I've looked at for Pisces, I'm like, Jupiter. To me, Jupiter rules it no matter every single one I've looked at. So what I would say here is that I think the Queen of Wands is about kind of like following through on something, following your bliss as well, which I think Pisces definitely needs to get away from, being sad or depressed or whatever. And, with the sunflower here, it points towards the sun. So happiness is going to be your power, not, being depressed or whatever.
Yeah, I that makes sense, because I pulled the 8 of Water card here, and it's talking about search for something more meaningful, something that get out of that feeling depressed or sad and look for something, have a passion, something you're really excited about. But I also got the Emperor card for Pisces, and so your personal power, a lot of it's going to come from applying that organization and logic to it, right? Which is not easy for a lot of Pisces, because Pisces usually isn't about boundaries. It's usually about going with the flow. There's really no boundaries and energetically in water. Plus, like we said at the beginning of the show, with all this Pisces energy we have right now, and I agree with you about Jupiter ruling Pisces completely. We have Jupiter going into Cancer later this summer. So, this is your time to really go after the things you really want. Just have a plan for it, and you don't have to do it overnight, because doing it overnight doesn't make it good anyways. But have that apply that emperor energy there, and search for something that you're move away from the things that you're bored with. So does anything else come up for you with that?
Yeah, same thing. Like you said, King of Cups is, maybe he is too emotional. He has very deep emotions. And the Queen of Wands, she does kind of have emotions, because again, she's following her bliss. She's following her joy, but she would definitely be more structured. Than just him. Kind of like having no structure. I mean, the other thing I would say about the King of Cups is, he is a card of actually both cards are kind of cards of stepping into the unknown, if you really think about it. The Queen of Wands she's the card of learning as you go. He has this boat back here, and the boat is like very specific on the King of Cups. It represents traveling into the unknown, adventuring into the unknown, doing things that could upset you emotionally, or knock you off your square or whatever. He's on his square, right, sitting in the middle of the ocean. But I think those are the risks that Pisces should take.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't say my spiel at the beginning about, wanting that you should listen to all 12 signs, because we all have all 12 signs in our chart. And one thing that I've seen for a lot of people, for all 12 signs anyways, but you kind of brought up with Pisces, is that when you're feeling bored with something, that that's a good sign that it's time to move away from it, or go learn something new. You've done what you needed to do with whatever that is. That relationship, that job, that project, and if you really don't want to put bored energy into anything either, so that's not gonna bring you that Queen of Wands energy that you want there. So
right.
Yeah, I love that. Well, we're going to move on to the collective reading here. But first, Chris, I wanted to make sure everybody knew about all your amazing content you have out there. If you haven't already, definitely go check out Chris Reck's other channel, his Chris Reck channel. You can also go to chrisreck.com, because he has loads of free information to help you get started on all your passion projects there. I've done his lots of his courses with dent makers. I'm a dent maker myself. And the challenge we did in January, Chris, that was so much fun. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for being in there.
And I know you're going to have more of those. So make sure you're signed up for Chris Reck's newsletter at chrisreck.com, because he's got some surprises coming up. And there's nothing like having a group of people who have a passion about doing something new, whatever it is, podcast, YouTube channel, or even just starting a book, or not just starting a book. That's a big deal. But getting started, you have so much there to motivate. And I like how you talk about, if I'd known these things when I got started, this is what I would have done. It's so helpful to feel like, everybody had to be a beginner at one point. And I also have noticed your community is really loving and supporting. All the dent makers I've had the honor of connecting with, they're so supportive of each other. They like each other's content, and it's really fun. I think we have some dent makers in the chat today. So
I think we do.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to the dent makers. Yeah.
So definitely check out chrisreck.com, and of course his amazing Minnow Pond Tarot channel, which I am so excited. Thank you, Chris. I have the opportunity to do readings with you next week. So next week on the first Wednesday of March at 12 Central. So we'll be going on an hour later on your channel over there on Minnow Pond Tarot. So I'm super excited to be doing another dual reading. These are so fun with you, Chris. They just fly by.
They are. They do. It's crazy. We're already I know, at the end.
So much fun. All right. Well, definitely check all that out. I have the links in the description below. I think I do. If I don't, I'll make sure they get there. But chrisreck.com and Minnow Pond Tarot. All right. Let's look at the collective energy now for everybody watching. What's coming up for you, Chris?
Yeah, Six of Wands and the King of Swords. Pretty good. Six of Wands, card of success, victory. It is a time, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it is a time to stand out. I think everybody should be trying to stand out as much as possible with the Six of Wands. And there will be jealous people, but so what? And, this guy here or lady is meant to look jealous. But the King of Swords, like knowledge and wisdom. I think everybody has been through an extended period of time of learning, and now it's time to take what you've learned and put it into practice, because that's probably what's going to get you attention. This could be in any area of your life.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to is, again, I'm getting the Magician card, which I know we got for a couple of the signs already. It's really taking this energy and moving forward. And I know we said at the beginning that, a lot of the energy is going to feel slow until it's time, until May or so. But we also got this renewal card here, and that's the reason it's slow. That's the reason we have all this, retrograde energy, and we have Venus and Mercury retrograde in March, is because it's giving us that chance to make sure we're really, really clear on what we want. When I built the house I live in right now, it took 2.5 years to get to the point where we were living in it. It was because we had to completely go back to the drawing board with the house plans and we had to fire the first builder we hired. It was like going all the way back to the drawing board. It took forever. And I cannot tell you how grateful I am that all that time we had to spend redoing everything, rehiring people, everything led to the better outcome there. So I always think of that with anything that you feel like, oh, now I have to go back and do this again. Think of what your life will be like when you take that time there. So I'm really getting that energy because I also got the Queen of Water. So trusting your intuition and really nurturing yourself through this energy is going to be really beneficial. Did anything else come up for you with that?
Yeah, it's I think the King of Swords is, also a card of transformation. So he has those butterflies behind him, and I've been getting that back to the drawing board thing. I mean, speaking of dent makers, I've been the actual site for dent makers I've been working on for almost 3 years now, if you can believe it. I've had to fire like 3 people that were working on it because they just weren't doing it, and so I've gone back to the drawing board on that so many times. But it's slowly coming together, and it's worth it. So yes.
And I also got this 7 of Air card here, which is also plans that need revision, right? And what is what is the thing that you usually say with 7 of Swords?
7 of Swords is like a card of tactics. So he's stealing those swords from the army in the background. He's just doing something in a different way. It's saying that there is a better way to accomplish the goal, whatever it is. And 7 of Swords gets a better rap. It's a good card. Golden cards in the tarot are meant to be positive no matter what. So, everybody always just reads it as lying, cheating, stealing. But it's like, really, it's a good card. So
I'm always grateful that you remind me of that, because it's just like nobody wants to think they're being lied to by people in their life, or they're lying to themselves. So it's like, let's look at this tactically. Yeah.
And sometimes I think with tarot, it's like someone is always lying to you.
Right.
it's like it's part of life. So it's like it's just
That's
stating
true.
the obvious to say that,
Right. That's such a good point. Well, I feel like, ultimately what we're saying here with your personal power is now is the time to go for what it is that your heart wants. There's some different strategies for all 12 signs that we all have it there. So just trust that everything we've been going through is ultimately all for our highest good. So, yeah.
Oh, you cut up there.
I cut off. Oh, sorry.
You cut off for a second.
Well, I guess that's our cue. No, I was just saying it's ultimately this is all ultimately for our highest good. Anything that we're having to go through in this slower energy to get to the point where we're really, aligned and we have that structure around our projects, even if it meant starting all over again. So I really like that, that analysis there. Well, anything else you wanted to add, Chris, before we wrap up today?
I think that's it.
Well, we so appreciate all of you being in the comments. Thank you so much for liking and sharing this video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and do the same for Minnow Pond Tarot and Chris Reck. And I will be so honored to see you over on Minnow Pond Tarot next Wednesday at 12 Central. Thank you, Chris, as always, for being here. I really appreciate it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Anytime. And remember, take time every day to connect with the angels. Bye, everybody.
Bye.